As a popular adage goes, never let a crisis go to waste. Well, we see how two Tanakh personalities, Noach and Abraham, respond to crisis. And through their response to crisis, we can see how their inner self truly comes to the fore. There are many parallels between the story of Noach and Abraham, and we're going to focus on a couple of them now. Noach experiences crisis. He experiences the flood. Immediately after the flood, he experiences a covenant, an agreement with Hashem. And that's done over the rainbow. Hashem promises that he's never going to destroy the world again. Now, immediately after that crisis and covenant, what does Noach do? This is what the Pasuk says. Vayachel Noach ish ha'adama vayita karem. Noah, the man of the earth, ish ha'adama, the man of the earth, debases himself. And what does he do? He plants a vineyard. The Chumash is very, very clear as to how it sees Noach's first action after the flood. How is he going to rebuild this world? How does Noach respond to crisis? Let's build a vineyard. Let's make grapes. Rashi picks up on this, and he says, why does it use the word vayachel? Vayachel is like chulin. Noach is making himself, the base is making himself unholy. He had an opportunity to use this crisis to become a holier person, to become a person closer to the Almighty. But what does he do? He makes a vineyard, and Rashi says that he should have been involving himself with a different type of planting. He shouldn't have been making grapes. He shouldn't have been producing luxury items. He should have planted wheat, barley, something that is the basic necessities of man. Instead of caring for his basic necessities, he's looking to get drunk. And indeed, that's exactly what happens. The next pasuk, the next verse, without any break, already he drank of the wine and became drunk. Noach responds to crisis, he breaks. He doesn't use it as an opportunity for growth, but rather after that crisis, unfortunately, he debases himself. And that's exactly what the Chumash says. What's interesting is how Avraham responds to crisis. Avraham too goes through 10 different trials throughout his life. And one of the crises that Avraham has to encounter is a disagreement with Avimelech, the king of the Philistines, over a number of wells. After that disagreement, after that crisis, he too makes a covenant with Avimelech. But let's see how Avraham responds to the crisis. What does he do? After he leaves Avimelech, Vayita Eshel beBe'er Sheva. He goes and he plants an Eshel in Be'er Sheva. What's an Eshel? It's actually a disagreement between the rabbis. One says that it was an orchard, actually an orchard, but an orchard for food that he would use to give to others. And second possibility, Eshel was an inn. It wasn't actually an orchard, but rather it was a place for wayfarers to stop. Avraham responds to crisis, allowing his inner potential to shine out. And Avraham is all about chesed, looking out for others, giving to others. There's crisis, and he responds in a positive, constructive manner. What's interesting is the epilogue to that story. What's Avraham's reward for responding to that crisis, for taking advantage of that crisis, for not letting that crisis go to waste? He gets another one. The very next psukim, after he settles in Be'er Sheva, is Akedat Yitzchak, the famous story of the binding of Isaac. I would have thought that he would have been given more success, given more blessing. Why is he blessed with it? Why is he given another crisis? Because truth be told, a crisis is an opportunity for us to grow. It's an opportunity for us to reveal our true selves. It's an opportunity that we're able to use to push ourselves forward, to grow, to hone our character. Not that we should look to make a crisis, but when there is a crisis, it's actually a blessing in disguise. But that's only when we utilize the crisis in the right way. What's interesting is that both Noach and Abraham are dealt crises, but they respond in very different ways. Ultimately, Noach is the father of all mankind, because the rest of mankind was wiped out. But he does not bring that message to much of mankind. Although he might be the universal father, the message doesn't even get off the ground. He doesn't share any message of godliness, it seems, on the surface, with the rest of the world. Whereas Avraham, although he's a particularistic father, he's the father particularly of the Jewish people, his message is universal. When he plants that Eshel, he plants that vineyard, he plants that orchard, and then Vayikra b'Shem Hashem, he calls out in the name of God. He uses that crisis to push himself forward, not only himself forward, but the entire world forward, all the people around him forward. Not only does he utilize the crisis for himself, but he also utilizes the crisis to help others. We are the children of Abraham, and we should live up to his ideal. Shabbat Shalom.